thank you for taking these 2 days out to come to the home of the Super Rugby champions and future Super Rugby champions, the Highlanders. So thank you very much. The aim of this forum hopefully is to engage, and involve sheep breeders and those entities and scientists with the B+LNZ Genetics program. We set up this opportunity for you, people who are integral in the advancement of genetics in New Zealand, to talk directly to our team, to the people involved in our program. So please take your time out to talk to us and help guide the future of sheep breeding in New Zealand. Feedback from the past forums has shown that a lot of the learnings haven't just come from listening to people like myself or the others, it's come from talking to one another and your colleagues. So I'd encourage you to take the time out in the breaks to talk to one another and find out what's going on in the industry, your industry. Look, as you're all well aware, the science of animal genetics is an extremely powerful tool and is capable of making a major contribution to raising the productivity and profitability of sheep and beef farming in New Zealand. B+LNZ Genetics have been entrusted by the government, taxpayers, to lead this major science program in the field of genetics with the objective of improving the economic welfare of New Zealand. They want to see a return for their investment in the sheep and beef sector. We have also been entrusted by you and your fellow sheep and beef levy payers to ensure optimal rates of genetic gain in the industry, defined in economic terms. This is a significant responsibility that both the B+LNZ Genetics team and the B+LNZ Genetics board take very seriously. And I'd like to welcome Richard Wakeland, who's on our board, is with us for these next 2 days. Chris Kelly gives his apologies, our current chairman. Genetic improvement is a long-term venture, and the full benefit of the decisions we make are realised over many decades. Therefore, the structures and systems B+LNZ Genetics is currently working on to implement must be sustainable over these long time frames. That is why these forums are very important, that we obtain your input and feedback so we head in the right direction to keep a profitable sheep and beef sector. So many of the technologies that are going to be presented over the next 2 days for achieving genetic improvement are developing very rapidly at this point in time, from data capture to new DNA technologies to developments with SIL to new traits being developed. So I would encourage you, we're here to give you some insight into what the future holds and to give you a heads up so you can be prepared for what's coming down the track and your businesses can flourish in the future. Look, I'm not going to go into all the everything we're up to. As Eleanor alluded to before, please take the time out to look at the posters through the R&D book. We've got some panels out the side there to give you feedback on. Look for the caricature of Eleanor, slightly larger than she is standing there. So just on the way for a cup of tea. The other thing I'm sure you're well aware of is after 15 years, Mark Young is moving on from B+LNZ Genetics to help the British improve their sheep breeding. Maybe he's going to get some of those sheep breeders to sign up with SIL. He's our person in disguise over there. But we'll talk more about Mark later. But we have got plans in place to support you. In future, please contact Max and Annie with any of your queries. Annie is well qualified. She has a PhD in reproductive physiology and genetics, and she's down the back there. And Max has a background in beef breeding, a degree in agriculture, and breeding program design. They're going to be supported by Sharon McIntyre, who's got a Masters in Animal Breeding, who's been working alongside Mark for many years, and so she's going to be supporting them. But in the first port of call, please go to Max and Annie. Sharon will be supported by the scientists in this room, as Mark has been in the past.